Welcome back to another true crime segment on Exploring with Ash and Jake. Today we're going to be talking about the Black Dahlia murders. If this sounds good, stay tuned and we're just going to hop straight into the story. The time was 10 a.m. The year was January 15th, 1947. Betty Bersinger, a local housewife, was walking down Norton Avenue in Los Angeles, that's Southern California for those of you who don't know, when she saw something disturbing. In an empty lot on the street, when she first saw the corpse, Bersinger said that the body was so white that at first she assumed it had to be a mannequin. But when she realized that she was actually looking at what was a severed corpse, she ran to contact the authorities. The body Bersinger found was Elizabeth Short, known as the Black Dahlia. Her body was split in half at the waist, and pieces of her flesh had been cut away from her body. And while she was severely mutilated, there was no blood anywhere, suggesting that the body had been thoroughly cleaned before being positioned at the spot on Norton Avenue. Los Angeles Police Department identified Elizabeth Short by her fingerprints and an autopsy which was performed on Short's body on January 16, 1947. Marks on her body suggested the woman had been bound, tortured, and her official cause of death was cerebral hemorrhage and shock. In short, bleeding of the brain. The police then sent out a bulletin in the hopes of finding more information about the victim. Eventually, some details about Elizabeth Short were uncovered. She moved to Los Angeles in July of 1946. She worked as a waitress as she struggled to get acting roles in Hollywood. She lived in a rented room behind the Florentine Gardens and nightclub on Hollywood Boulevard. As news about Short's murder began to circulate, newspapers started referring to her as the Black Dahlia, mostly due to her striking dyed black hair and the black clothing she wore. The story of the Black Dahlia made headlines for weeks. The plot thickens. On January 24, 1947, a suspicious manila envelope addressed to the Los Angeles Examiner and the other Los Angeles papers was discovered. The envelope included a letter using cut-out words from the newspaper clippings that said, "Here is Dahlia's belongings." Inside the envelope were Short's birth certificate, business cards, photographs, names on written pieces of paper, an address book. All of the contents of the envelope had been cleaned with gasoline, similar to how Short's body had been cleaned. This led authorities to believe the letter was definitely from Short's killer. Police contacted approximately 75 men from Short's address books, but the majority of the men claimed to have only known Short briefly. Due to the nature of the precise cuts on Short's body, authorities suspected someone in the medical field could have been the killer, and the police served a warrant to the USC Medical School, which was located close to where Short's body had been found. But after several interviews and background checks, they were still no closer to solving the case. While the case of the Black Dahlia is still a cold case, there are so many theories about who could have committed the crime. A large number of people have actually come forward to confess to the crime, but most of these confessions have been proven to be false. Some crime authors have made a link between the Black Dahlia murder and the Cleveland Torso murderers, which took place between 1934 and 1938. The murder of Jeannie French in Los Angeles on February 10, 1947, also has been discussed as possibly linked to Short's murder. At the time of the investigation, Leslie Short was considered to be the prime suspect, but he was never brought to trial because of clerical errors. This, along with other details of the case, has led some theorists to believe that the Black Dahlia murder was never solved because of police's cover-up. That sounds really suspicious to me. After retiring from the LAPD, former police detective Steve Hodel published a true crime book called The Black Dahlia Murder, A Genius for Murder. In it, Hodel lays out many details in the investigation and presents his own theory. He believes his own father, Dr. George Hodel, killed the Black Dahlia. While there are numerous theories about what truly happened to Elizabeth Short, the case remains unsolved, and it remains a fascinating true crime story that has inspired many mystery novels and film movies over the years. What do you think happened to the Black Dahlia? Do you think George Hodel killed her? Do you think that the police covered up this crime and that they know who the actual murderer is, but because of mess-ups in court paperwork, the true person got off scot-free? What do you make of this story? Let me know in the comments below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. For every person who shares a video this month, we will be donating $1 for every video shared to St. Children's Research for Childhood Cancer. As always, thanks for watching. Have a blessed day, everyone. Keep exploring and stay weird.